We got the one and only Lambo Luke pulled up in the
going
event.
on? What's going on?
What's up, brother? Long time no see,
Not a
man.
lot,
How have
man.
you been?
I've been good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I appreciate you coming out, man. We got the one and only Lambo Luke. Everyone in Dallas knows Lambo Luke.
Oh, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah. How's life, brother? What have you been up to?
Man, just trying to stay consistent, trying to perfect the craft.
Yeah, man.
Nothing out of the ordinary, it's just another day.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hit you with the first question. Might be tough. Who is Lambo Luke?
Ooh.
Yeah.
The deep one.
The deep one. That's how we're starting it off, man. Who is Lambo Luke?
Man, I would like to consider myself just a regular guy.
Yeah.
I was raised in Richardson. I was raised by my grandparents. Born Luke Schlensker. And, it kind of evolved into this Lambo Luke guy.
Yeah.
But really, just started humble beginnings. Always loved cars. And really, I feel like it was just destiny.
Yeah,
to evolve into this.
Awesome, man. Well, I've known you for 3 or 4 years now, and I feel like you've been only elevating your brand. So I want to say, congratulations on that, first of all, because it's not easy. You know what I mean? Especially in the field that you're in exotics, I see people coming in and out. Like every single weekend, there's a new exotic company that pops up, and then they're gone. So there's no credibility. So for you, the classic, correct?
Classic lifestyle.
You guys have been killing it, man, at least for 4 years. But how long have you guys been in business now?
So I actually started in the exotic business in 2016.
Okay.
But the company was started in 2017.
Okay, 2017.
And like you said, man, it's not an easy business.
Nah, bro, nothing's easy.
A lot, it's not. And first off, I want to say congrats to you too.
Appreciate it,
because we have known each other a while, and you've elevated as well. So I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man.
But in terms of the exotic business, I think there's a lot of people that look at it and they get into it for the wrong reason. They just want to drive fancy cars and kind of put on that persona that you got it like that. And the reality is that the cars are tools.
Yep.
And you always have to focus on the car being a tool.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if you're not renting the car, you're just driving it, you're just paying for it.
100%.
And the name of this game is to make money.
100%. And I mean, the thing is one thing that you and I always talked about is you've always wanted to have this luxury experience, right? Because people are putting in their hard-earned money for a special day, or whether it's a wedding, is that what you feel like the most people music videos? What are you seeing most people are coming out and using your cars for?
It's a question I get a lot, but there's really no solid answer because I deal with so many different kinds of people and so many different experiences. But I mean, back to the first part of what you said, people are paying a lot of money for this experience. Yeah. So anything less than top tier, I'm letting them down.
Exactly.
Because in terms of a Lamborghini rental, a Rolls Royce rental, it's at least $1,300
minimum.
And current times, that's at least half your rent or mortgage, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you go into the situation and it's not an enjoyable experience, you're gonna feel
let down.
You're gonna feel let down.
Yeah.
So when we started, we weren't able to, I always tried to deliver the best experience possible, but over time we've evolved the process to make it really easy for people to rent the cars.
Yeah, and I see one thing is I'll say I see your fleet is well maintained, right? That's important. You guys are also always customizing the cars and stuff like that. So you've started another business now, correct, too? Right. What is that business's name?
Man, so it's all pretty much still under the same umbrella, but I call it the Auto Salon.
Okay, nice.
So really what we do is, like you said, I like to keep the cars evolving. So even if I have, say, a Lamborghini Huracan convertible, eventually I'll change the color because people will become used to that car. Yep. They say, oh, look at that gray Lambo.
Yep.
At Moxie's.
Yeah.
And look at it as Citizen. They'll pick up on the fact that it's a rental car.
Yeah.
So I try to keep the inventory fresh.
Nice.
But with the Auto Salon, basically what we do are wraps, wheels, suspension, engine upgrades, kind of an all-in-one boutique customization. House, you could say.
Yeah, it's all in-house, and that's important, right? Because the thing is I feel like you're in this business because you're passionate. That's why you're successful, right? Sure. And so now you guys are coming out here and doing these amazing things. You guys are customizing these cars. You guys are, some of the best people in Dallas, they're coming to you and they're bringing you your cars. So you got celebrities, you got influencers bringing you their cars. So I mean, it's all because you're knowledgeable and passionate about it. If you didn't have any knowledge and you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to slap this random matte color on this car,
Yeah.
they would
Yeah.
be like, yo, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, in a lot of situations, people don't even tell me what they want.
Yeah.
I'll actually just have people say, hey, Luke, do it how you would do it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even when I was a kid, that's what I was doing.
Oh really?
You know, as soon as I had a video game, you
Yeah.
know, I was playing Forza, Grand Theft Auto, whatever, customizing cars in the
Yeah.
garage. And it really is kind of like the childhood dream come true to be able to do that for a living.
Nice, man. And so like I would say like, you know, every single entrepreneur I know, they started young. Like, you know, like anyone who's being successful, they
Yeah.
started young. So what was Lambo Luke doing in high school? Was he flipping was he flipping cars? Was he flipping phones? What was he doing?
You hit the nail on the head.
What, flipping phones?
Yeah, so I started, I can't remember the exact year the iPhone came out,
Yep.
but that first generation iPhone,
Yeah.
when I got the first one, it was kind of like a light bulb went off.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, those iPhones were exclusive to AT&T.
Yep.
So eventually jailbreaking came out.
Yeah.
So I was one of the first people to get that software.
Nice.
So my grandma would actually drive me to the AT&T store because you could buy the phone in the box.
Yep.
Remember? And then,
Yep.
then they'd make you activate it.
Yep.
But I would just get the phones in the box, and then I would jailbreak them, unlock them, and I would sell them on eBay or on
Nice.
Craigslist.
Nice, man.
As a kid,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't have a license or anything.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But and then I found out, you know, I would buy broken ones,
Yeah.
and I had like the software to put it in what I would call like a limp mode,
Uh-huh.
where you can't get it out of it,
Yeah.
and even. Hopefully I don't get sued talking about this. But even I would take it to the Genius Bar. I would take a broken screen and they would replace it with a refurbished one.
Nice.
And then I would sell it.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
like I have a feeling like, cause like, you know what you're talking about, like flipping iPhones. I remember doing that like my sophomore year of high school. So like that's when iPhones were hot. You know, I was doing the kind of the same stuff. I wasn't actually jailbreaking them. I was just getting them from my friends. They were
Yeah.
jailbreaking for me, and I would go sell them.
There
You know?
you go. Hey, well, you got to get it how you live.
Yeah,
You
100%.
gotta do
I
it
wanted to do
one
a
way or
little bit.
another.
I wanted to be the, you know, a little bit less, but I mean, I knew, like, you know, I've seen the evolution, so I knew there was something. That's why I wanted to ask, because like, you know, it all goes back to that question: who is Lambo Luke, right?
Yeah.
Because all your past experiences have led you to do
Yeah.
this, and like, so would you say like? I mean, you know, you and I both know mentorship is important and stuff like that. Did you find anyone to mentor you, or did you kind of have to figure it out yourself?
You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
The closest thing to a mentor I had was my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
But I lost him in 2012.
Oh, wow.
And I think back on a lot of those experiences I had, and I wish I'd been a little bit more mature
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, you're a teenager, but I
Yeah.
wish I'd been more mature to ask him some of those entrepreneurial questions. But really, it's been a freestyle.
Yeah. And, you know, that says a lot about you because, you know, not saying anything bad about going into corporate life or anything like that, but majority of people, that's where, you know, it's kind of like we're told, go to college, you know, you finish high school,
Yeah.
you go to college, you go get a 9 to 5. So like, what kind of was like, what was that moment where you were like, man, no, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to be a businessman? What was that moment for you where you were like, hey, this is what I'm going to do? Yeah, I already made a little bit of money, like, you know, from flipping the phones and stuff like
Yeah.
that. What was that moment that switched where I was like, all right, now it's time to go into business?
I think there's I think a lot of us, at least on that entrepreneurial path, we have moments where we question that path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I started with the phones, I was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And I did it for 2 years, and I made a lot of money
Yeah.
for a 13-year-old kid.
100%.
You know, and I did that until AT&T threatened me with a class action lawsuit
Wow.
at 15.
Yeah.
So that actually, I would say, was probably my first doubt of my entrepreneurial journey
Mm-hmm.
because I was flowing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, well, maybe I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, like I was doing so well. I didn't have that pivot.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from there, I went from the phones to selling car parts to
Nice.
cars. And then I fell into a situation where I was working for an exotic car rental company.
Nice.
So I would say, you know, the university I went to, UTD, I would say that they were basically training me to be an employee
Mm-hmm.
or a manager.
Yeah.
You know?
One or
So-
the other, not
One or the other, yeah. And I think back on my time there, and I actually considered getting a job.
Yeah.
if I hadn't fallen into that situation where I was working for another exotic car rental company, I think I probably would have gotten a job.
Wow. How did that exotic rental job come up?
So I had an Infiniti G37 when I was 18.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it was
The infamous. I've heard about this one.
And it was a really popular car, like in
Yeah.
the local scene.
Yeah.
Just because it was really modified, I put my heart and soul into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was driving through East Richardson
Uh-huh.
one day, and I saw this dude in a nice 350Z, and he was in a car crew. And he waved me down. He was like, "Bro, your car's sick."
Yeah.
In a Walgreens parking lot, he's like, "Bro, we're in a car crew. Come by, meet everybody."
Yeah.
So one of the other guys in the car crew was another young entrepreneur, and this dude was a year older than me, and he had a Superleggera Gallardo.
Wow.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" I was
Yeah.
like, "How the fuck does he have this car?"
Yeah.
You know? And come to find out, he was working with an investor, and they were renting the car out.
Nice.
So he and I became friends. I didn't ask for a job or anything like that. It kind of just organically came to where he knew that I liked cars. He knew that I wanted to be in business. And he said, "Why don't you come help me run the company?" And that's really like how the situation happened.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And so all those experiences, like you were helping him run the company, and what moment were you like, man, I got to go do this on my own?
I wasn't even thinking that, to
Really?
be honest, because I was really grateful for the experience.
Yeah.
So being able to be in, my final year of college and then start being around exotic cars, which I've always loved.
Yeah.
I've always loved cars.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about doing it on my own. I was just grateful to be there.
Enjoying the
Right.
experience.
I was enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like a lot of these people that come and go, there's a right and wrong way to do this kind of business.
100%.
And I don't want to dirt that guy too much, but it became too much for him,
Mm-hmm.
and he eventually just walked away.
Wow.
So it left me in my final semester of college wondering, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So I resorted back to buying and selling cash cars, which suck.
Yeah.
Hounding Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, looking for a deal to scrape up. And I was sitting in the library one day with a good friend, and he was just like, "You have every tool, resource. Why don't you do this yourself?"
Mm-hmm.
And that self-doubt, I was like, "Man, I don't know. Like, this is a lot to take on. I don't have any money."
Yeah. And you just saw someone exit.
I just saw someone exit and almost like lose themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's a mentally straining business.
100%.
Cars go down. You're dealing with investors, paybacks. You can't pay them back.
Cars get stolen.
Cars get stolen. It takes a mental toll on you.
100%.
But it was spring break 2017. I sat down and I took, all those business skills that I learned in college, and I wrote out a business plan. And I didn't have any cars. I didn't have a source for the cars. And it's crazy to think that it came from that.
Yeah.
It came from a business plan in the university library.
Nice, man. Well, and I mean, like, I think that's huge because it like shows you like, what you're doing at your age, you're probably in like, like the very few that can, be driving people's dream cars, and you get to do it as your passion. You get to, drive Lamborghinis, you get to drive Rolls Royces. But like the thing is you've put in the work, that vision, and you executed on it. That's the main thing I feel like a lot of people like miss, is the execution, because there's a lot of hard work into what you do. Like right now, people just look in, they see you on Instagram, they just see, oh man, look at man, Luke's living the life, but they don't see all the countless hours, all the self-doubt, all the family
Damage control.
Yeah, the damage control.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, tracking the cars. Where are these cars at? Because I've only seen to those TikTok stories, and I'm sure we can get into it, and we will get into it. But the first question I want to ask you was, what was the first car that you bought that was like, all right, I'm going to start renting this out?
So, not a lot of people, I think, probably know how I actually started.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to actually reach out to the previous investor of the company that failed, that I was working for. And he had a bad taste in his mouth from the experience he had.
Yeah.
And it was like the world was working against me, but with me at the same time, because you had someone that was skeptical, but still had the car and didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I was able to use that car to essentially prove the concept.
Nice.
And it took me about 8 months to get my first car.
Wow.
Which was a 2013 Gallardo.
Nice.
Looking back on it, it was a good rental car, but would I ever rent a car like that again? Never. Because they're prone to so many issues.
Makes sense.
But that white Lamborghini that I had, the car that I got myself, was really I think the car that solidified the mission.
Yeah.
Because I used that car for so many music videos, so many different rentals, so many different promotional videos that I didn't actually give myself the Lambo Luke name.
Yeah.
As corny as that is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was from pulling up relentlessly so many different places that I just became associated with it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there's Lambo Luke. Oh, there's Lambo Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not biased. You'll buy you'll rent out a Ferrari.
I'll buy scooters.
Rolls Royce, everything like that. So, what was the car before the Lambo? The one that was
it was another Gallardo.
That was another Gallardo. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate the setup you got here, by the way.
Of course, man.
You're treating me really well.
Yeah, bro. We had to, we had to get the drinks. We had to get the other stuff. So, and we appreciate you pulling up. We'll have a little bit of B-roll. We'll show the people what you pulled up in.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not Lambo. This is my new favorite quote. It's not a Lambo if the doors don't go up. I really like that.
Yeah, don't hold me to that because I rent out Huracans still, but
yeah, but it's a nice comment. I like it.
for sure.
It's a goal, right? Like, because it's like, man, Lambos, the doors go up. So is that one of your favorite cars, the Aventador?
I think the Aventador probably is my favorite vehicle to pull up in, just because of the road presence.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
When you pull up in an Aventador, it's kind of undeniable.
Yeah. What was the craziest thing is you were like, hey, I'm pulling up. So we stepped outside, right? And I heard I think I heard it 2 minutes before you actually pulled up. So it is undeniable.
It's got a little exhaust mod on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Done by the classic.
Yeah, you already know.
Man, how do you keep your team happy, man? Like, you got so many people.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing.
It is, because especially I know in the industry that you're in, the people that you need a whole team around you, right? Yeah. And people are always trying to pull from your team. So how do you keep your team happy and, rocking with you? Because obviously I know you take care of them. That's why they're still with you.
Yeah. This is going to be a long-winded answer.
Oh, go ahead. We're ready.
So, when I think back to it, kind of like how I touched on going to college, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I was being trained to be an employee or a manager.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't realize, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. What I didn't realize is that being a business owner is being a manager.
Yeah.
So you're managing all these people, and when you manage people, you manage feelings.
Yeah.
And you manage their personal lives as well, because all that stuff can come into the workplace. You try to keep it out, but it still comes.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I had a really high turnover rate with employees.
Wow.
And I was really insecure about it because, if you make safe hires, you won't necessarily grow. Yeah. But if you hire someone that sounds too good to be true, a lot of times people, they come around you just because they want what you have. So, the team that I have right now, I've had the longest, a couple of years, everyone. Yeah. And keeping them happy is just treating them the way you'd want to be treated.
100%.
You got a personal thing to go handle it. Yeah. As long as we communicate and we know when we need you here, need you there, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, no, that's true leadership, man. And I think what you said something that I've already known, but I've never heard it said. So, I mean, people that come around you, they come around you because they want what you have. So that's huge. So like that's a really good takeaway, because like
I've had people work for me, and then they'll try to branch out and go do their own thing, but I try to be a good judge of character and just avoid those kind of situations, because it ends up just hurting you in the long run.
100%. And I mean, like, nothing against people wanting to grow and do their own thing. No. But like the thing is,
you have to have your own identity,
100%.
your own personality, and you have to have your own why.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, like
You know?
the thing is like I can't go buy a Lambo tomorrow and start renting it out and start expecting people to call me Lambo Nav. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna happen. I could try, but like that's not who I am. That's not what I do. That's not my identity, right? Like in the end of the day, you have to be yourself, right? And I think it really is tough with social media and like it's like it's a double-edged sword because social media is kind of your best friend in business, but then it's also like where people are hating, oh man, like yeah, they're just waiting for you to fail, like, and I'm sure you've had so many situations where like people are just waiting and it's like, yo, I'm still here, the cars are still here, but those people are waiting for you to be like, oh, Lambo Luke's not in business no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, he'll be here if you need, especially if you need him at your wedding.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll send the car.
I mean, responding to that, there's always going to be people that doubt you.
100%.
But at least from my personal experience, the majority of people, at least on social media, are supporters of mine, and I think that just comes from treating everyone the same.
100%.
You know?
Have you noticed that some people support you so much and you probably never even met them? Isn't that the wildest thing ever?
Yeah, 100%. I think they believe in the vision.
Yeah, and they see you putting in the work, so they're always showing you love because they're like, man, this guy, he's just out here doing his thing.
It's real organic growth.
100%.
And I feel like sometimes it's hard to dispute that because it's right there. The proof is in the pudding. 2017 to now, it's been a continuous elevation.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I've changed.
Yeah.
Or I've sold my soul or done anyone wrong along the way. I've tried to be a good person, treat everyone the same.
100%. Yeah, and I that is tough, especially because like in the industry you're in, right? Because like people
There's
just
a lot of fake people.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake people.
How do you keep yourself away from that?
Man, circle's small.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I would surround myself with people that I thought could help advance me.
Mm-hmm.
And the true reality is that I need to advance myself.
Yeah.
Relying on other people is kind of a shortcut. Like, oh, is Nav going to help me rent out 10 cars a month? Or could I work on my marketing and
makes sense.
Rely on myself?
Yeah. You build your systems and people will help and show you love like naturally, right? Like if someone's needing a car, I'm instantly thinking, oh, you got to hit up my boy Luke. You know what I mean? But the thing is first it's expensive, right? Like, like you said, it's almost half of someone's rent or half of someone's mortgage. So like that, it is what would you say the DFW car market rental scene is like? Do you feel like it's because we see Miami a lot, right? And then Vegas even, but I feel like DFW is kind of a hidden gem, wouldn't you say?
So when I started, there was really only one other competitor. Mm-hmm. And I think that actually made it easy for me. Yeah. Because I didn't go into that Miami market or the LA market where there's 100 different rental companies. I only had one person that I was worried about. Yep. So it was easy for me to come in and take that spot. Yep. Current day, there's a lot of people, and I don't want to take all the credit for it, but I think there's a lot of people that saw the progression that I had and they've wanted to duplicate it. Not everyone's like that though, but current day, there's 4 or 5 different companies and I think it's good for business.
Yeah. Well, and I think you kind of, because like, I feel like I know a lot of the Dallas scene and stuff like that, but I feel like you've kind of branded yourself. You were kind of the first on social media, really pushing the exotics, pushing the branding and stuff like that, and really open the door, right? And like, what would you say, like was that the business plan, or was that just kind of like wanting to be creative? Because a little bit of it is, I feel like it's almost both.
The initial plan was to create a brand that people could look up and support. The classic lifestyle. Yeah. That was the initial vision. Mm-hmm. Coming from the definition classic, which is to be of the highest quality. Yeah. So I wanted to create a very high quality car service. Yeah. Whether it was the rentals, the chauffeur service, that was the plan. Yeah. And I knew that, yes, the brand is part of it, but I'm also part of the brand too. Yes. So I wanted people to be able to refer other people to me. Nice. So that's how I always kept it personable. Mm-hmm. Just like you said, how many times does someone ask about a car rental and you think about me?
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean we talk every day.
No.
But you know that if someone wants that, I'll deliver it.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's what it is. You know, and I think that's how I've sustained so long. You know, there's been multiple companies, individuals come in and try to do this kind of business, and just throwing a bunch of money at AdWords and different Google SEO shit, like it's not going to get you there.
No, it's how much of your business would you say is referral and relationship based? 95%, 90%, if not more, or is that too high to say?
I would probably say, I think it's probably at this point like a nice 50-50.
50-50, wow.
Yeah, you know, a lot of referrals, but you know, we rank #1 on Google organically.
Nice.
No paid marketing.
Wow.
You know, so I get a lot of interest off that.
That's awesome.
And all these other companies that have opened up, I wholesale them cars.
You wholesale them?
I wholesale the rentals.
Nice.
I don't sell them. I'll give them the car discounted.
Nice.
So even if I'm not getting the rental,
Yeah.
I'm still getting the revenue.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, so you're literally the plug, man. Like,
yeah, because we have the most cars, and you know, you can pop up with one or two Huracans, but do you have 3 S580s?
Yeah.
Or do you have 2 Escalades?
Yeah. Do you have the Cullinan?
Do you have a Cullinan?
Yeah,
You know,
because there's a different demand for all different kinds of cars.
Right.
Yeah, especially like, you know, like my friend who recently reached out to you, you know, he wanted the Rolls Royce Ghost. Now, like, let's say at me, I only have an Escalade and a Lambo. What am I going to do? You know what I mean? So that's where inventory is key, right? So
Right.
How many cars do you like to keep in inventory?
It fluctuates.
What?
Anywhere, current time, anywhere from 15 to 20.
15 to 20. That's like, and
That's my sweet spot.
Yeah, that's a huge fleet.
Yeah, I've had more.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get into a situation where, kind of like we talked about with everyone before we started, you know, some people are worried about the economy, and people stop spending money on luxury services during those times. So for me to just hold 30 cars doesn't make sense for me.
No.
You know, I've done that. It was cool. Felt powerful.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'd rather have 15 rented than 15 rented and 15 sitting.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
keep those cars moving.
Yeah.
Because that's the goal.
No, that makes sense, man. And like, I mean, you know, I didn't want to focus heavily on the rentals and stuff like that, but you know, we just started got talking and stuff like that. I mean, it's a big a part of you and who you are. So, you know, one other thing I want to touch on before we go, like, you know, people see the glory of it, right? People see, oh man, like Luke's just renting cars, he's making money. You kind of touched on it about how stressful it is.
Yeah.
You've posted so many cars of yours that have gotten wrecked.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like, you know, like tell the people about that. Like, because the people, they just see the glory and they just think, oh, it's all good. You know, nothing wrong ever happens. But this is business, man. Things happen. Cars get in accidents. Cars are depreciating assets. So how do you deal with that?
I won't lie. The first 2 or 3, I was sick.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I had a really strong run of no total loss accidents.
Yeah.
Almost 4 years.
That's amazing.
And I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you know, I'm renting to good people. Everyone's taking care of
I'm selective.
I'm selective. They're taking care of the units.
Yeah.
And when I had my first total loss, and then I had 2 literally month after month.
Oh, man.
So I had my first total loss January 2020.
Uh-huh.
And then I had another one February 2020.
Uh-huh.
And I had the third one March 2020.
And then COVID hits.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
See,
so
you picked up on it.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations where I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why now?
Oh, wow.
You know? But after I got through those situations, I think I've normalized it. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things, it just kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You know, in a lot of cases, it's not even the person that rented the car that's their fault.
Mm.
It could be a drunk driver.
Yeah.
It could be someone running a red light. You know, but as long as I do my job, my team does their job, everyone's licenses are good, insurance is good, I don't really have to worry.
100%. Yeah.
My main stressor comes from small shit.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
I get stressed about a tire blowing out.
Yeah.
Or I get stressed about a car breaking down, an electrical issue, because that means I or someone on the team has to stay near the phone.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to have a personal life.
Yeah.
And when you're the captain of the ship, you have to be around the ship.
100%.
So I think that's probably the main like stressor in the business, is that at any point in time something can happen, because the cars are moving constantly. I'm asleep and the cars are moving. They're at 5 a.m. or they're at Ecstasy, or they're over here on 7th Street. So it's one of those things where I could be asleep and a customer calls the business line. It's like, bro, I hit a curb and the tire's flat. And then it's like, fuck. Yeah. Now I have to find a tow truck.
Yep.
And then, well, is it a really good customer? I might have to find them a replacement vehicle.
Nice.
So it's one of those things where you don't necessarily get to rest.
Yeah. No, 100%, because like you said, like the thing is a lot of these people, especially the relationships part of it, right? You have employees for reasons, but they're still gonna be like, oh no, let me talk to Luke. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
And that just comes from 6 years of experience doing this, where I have a great staff, but if I've got a good customer on the side of the road, I've got maybe an hour to 90 minutes to figure the situation out. Yeah. Because the last thing I want is someone on the side of the road.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure you've been in the situation where you've pulled up for a customer 100%. On the side of the road. Yeah. Probably giving your S580, been like, hey, here.
Yep, I have.
Recently. I already
yeah.
know, because like that's just the type of guy you are, and that's what's bringing you your success, because like you care, and cars are your passion, and like that's the thing is majority of people don't understand, if there's no passion, there's no success. Because if you hated cars and you like, first of all, you wouldn't be here, right? And then second of all, you wouldn't even be like, oh, like you wouldn't know what to buy, what would rent. You wouldn't know, like how you said, people throw you the keys, hey, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, going back to that, because I think of myself sometimes as like AAA.
Yeah.
Because if I have a customer that has a flat on the side of the road from a nail, it makes more sense for me to hop in the car with my plug kit, patch kit, and go fix it so they can get right back on the road.
100%.
Because that's a chance of me losing revenue.
Yeah.
Over something simple.
Exactly.
So I'd rather go pull up myself, bada bing, bada boom, get them back on the road, and then go back to whatever I was doing.
Yeah. Well, and see, that says a lot about you, because the majority of the people,
I'm not too good for anything. I'll get my ass on the fucking ground.
Yeah.
And I'll plug the tire.
Exactly. And see, that says a lot about you, because at a certain point, certain people would be like, oh, I'm too good for that. I'm not going to go plug the tire. I'm not going to go change the tire. I'm not going to go give them my car when I have stuff that I could do. And so
they're going to remember me doing that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And then one thing that I do remember you saying is, like, I've always noticed this about you. You balance personal and work life. Yeah, you're going to put in the work, but you give time to your girl, you support her with her brand and her business. Yeah. And so, like, I feel like I can even say this, and I've seen y'all out together and stuff like that. Like, y'all are each other's like support system. How important do you would say she is in your success for your business?
Dude, essential.
Yeah.
I think back a lot of times to when I started, and we joke about it that she was my first employee. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But before I had a bunch of employees, hey babe, can you follow me to drop this car off?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been so many situations where she's had to check me or keep me in reality or help me. So I mean, she's probably the most important part. And we started dating the same month I started the company.
Wow.
So it's one of those things, like, she was really here.
Yeah. Well, see, and that says a lot, because she's seen the come up, because, now.
It wasn't like she popped in.
Yeah, 100%. Because now, like, let's just say, like, she was never in your life and you were here today, you would have so many people that would just be like, oh, hey, Luke, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, like, it's really important that, she was there for you.
She's like the eyes in the back of my head, and I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like in a lot of cases, women have kind of a intuition about people and their true nature.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of people that have tried to come around me, and she'll say, hey, I don't really I don't really know
Yeah.
about this person.
Or just be careful.
Or just be careful. And I'll be like, no, babe, they're good. And then it ends up.
She was right.
She was right.
Yeah. I feel like there's two women in every man's life that are like that. Your mom and then your girl. Like those are the ones that are going to look out for you forever, you know? So that says a lot about like, you know, you trusting her and stuff like that. Cause now after 2 or 3 times that's happened, you're probably just like, yeah, all right, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I don't even question anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Not for sure.
So, you know, we've talked a lot about the rental stuff. We talked about all the scary stuff that happens. You know, the last thing I want to touch about is, you know, what from the rentals. Then before we move on, what happens like at those moments? Like, have you ever had that call that your car's gotten stolen? You know what I mean? What are the emotions that go through of that?
So in 6 years, I've had I think a total of four situations. 3 recovered. 1 wasn't. Wow. Yeah.
Which was the one that was never recovered? Can you even talk about it?
I'll tell you what it was, but I don't want to go too much into it. You remember the red G63?
Oh, yeah. Can't find it.
Oh, it was gone, bro. Within 2 days.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, we don't have to go much more back into that.
It was just an ugly situation.
You loved that G63.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you were the first one that had the G63 out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone else got it.
All right, man.
But back to real quick, I'll tell you about some of these situations. Theft isn't the first thing I think. Well, I wouldn't say it's the first thing I think of, but it's the first thing I try to prevent.
Yeah.
You know, I try to verify that the person coming to rent the car is really who they say they are. Mm-hmm. And the fucked up part about it is I've actually had people steal cars with real identities.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, some things are just unavoidable. Like this is you know, we're you know, I'm in the real estate business. We're dealing with people stealing identity and renting houses, and like, you know, we're dealing with people trying to list other people's properties. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, like the thing is like, you know, we're not in that mindset because we were like, how could people even do this? Because we are like, hey, we're gonna go work for what we got. You know what I mean? So
I'll tell you about the most recent situation if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
So this was probably 3 months ago. And I've told this story a couple times, not publicly. Yeah. My lady was out of town, and I was gonna go with her. And last minute, I said, you know what, I'm gonna hang back home. Yeah. And I had a Huracan go out on a Wednesday. Okay. And this particular customer, I've been talking to them for like 2 weeks. You know, hey, you know, what do I need? You know, I want to rent it this day. Here's my license. Here's my insurance. Good. Yeah. Insurance checked out. License checked out. Gucci. Yeah. Right. Well, the car went out on Wednesday, and to my knowledge, it was local until Friday. And whenever I check my trackers, if a car's local, I don't really trip over it. Yeah. So come to find out, the reality of the situation is this customer had come to the shop to get information about how to rent. And when they were at the shop, snapped the VIN on the Huracan. Now they took the VIN and created a fake title. A very high quality fake title. Wow. So that Wednesday they picked the car up. They literally left my shop and within 2 hours sold it with a fake title. Wow. Yeah. To a legitimate corporation.
That is crazy. And so in that instance, when something like that happens, it's the buyer that's out because I
recovered the car.
You're going to recover the car. You're going to be like, hey, I never sold this car. I never saw it.
The car had a lien on it, all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
You know? But the reason I mentioned my girl being out of town is because I was planning on having a really nice weekend, solo weekend, you know, like a little chill at home vibe. And I woke up that morning and the car was in Mississippi. Man. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, you're probably monitoring continuously.
Right.
Like, hey, where is this car at?
Right.
And so when you saw
from the night I went to sleep, it ended up in Mississippi the next morning. So luckily, you know, after 6 years, I've got good connections and I was able to recover it in Jackson, Mississippi. Thankfully. But it was on the way to Florida.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, like, you know, that, that business isn't for the faint of heart, right? Because like
That's what separates the men from the boys in this kind of business.
Mm-hmm.
Is a lot of people, they would think, oh man, the car is stolen.
Yeah.
Fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
Me, it's like, nah, I'm getting that shit back.
Yeah.
Like, I can't lose the source of revenue. And in some situations, I have partners on some of the cars.
Yeah.
So I'm going to treat that like it's 100% my car, just like I would my cars.
Yeah, 100%.
So I got to get it back.
Yeah, I could already imagine what's going through your head. It's Friday. I got this car going out on Sunday. I need to get it back before Sunday.
Literally.
Yeah, no, I mean that's awesome. So when now that we've talked a lot about the rentals, the rental game, the good, the bad, and stuff like that. When I think recently in the auto salon, right? That started about 2-3 years ago.
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
It was kind of a post-COVID baby.
Post-COVID,
Yeah.
nice. And how did you continues moving through COVID? Because that was the world shut down. And
I had to pivot.
Yeah, and that's the auto salon was born.
Right. So the way I really survived COVID was I stopped focusing on rentals.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about how I could keep the car out as many days as possible, even if I dock the price.
Gotcha.
So instead of doing daily rentals, I started doing weekly, monthly to cover the notes.
Makes sense.
Because think about it, right? That time, some people were outside, but the majority weren't.
The world was shut down.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months. At that time, I had about 25 cars.
Dang.
So that's
25
car notes. Yeah. So, just 1 month of no revenue on 25 cars could be fatal.
Yeah, and so you just do the math real quickly. Anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Try 4K.
Yeah.
Some cars 4K.
Some cars, yeah.
Yeah.
But average, we would say maybe $2,000 to $3,000, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Times 20, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then that doesn't even. We're not even talking about. You still have to have. That's just notes. The insurance, the shop bills, and all that stuff. Maintenance.
Yep.
Adds
and then
up.
you also have staff, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, these people have to still survive.
Yeah.
So how do I take care of them too?
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man.
But cars that were $750 a day, I was doing $300 a day.
Yeah.
It was what it was.
Yeah, that was the time to get a deal.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, same thing happened in real estate, right? There was a interest rates fell down to 2.99%, and I don't think people realized how good people had it, and that was the time to capitalize. Yeah. Whether you wanted, I think you and I were kind of talking about car prices and stuff like that they have come down slightly. The MMR is down, everything like that. Yeah. But think about what car prices were pre-COVID, and what you could buy a 2015 458 for, and now what that same car's price is.
Yeah. I hit big on a couple cars that I bought and sold, but you're right. I remember. You said 2015. I remember seeing a 2011 458 for $120.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And those were the days.
Yeah.
Right.
Those now you can't even the Escalade.
It's stabilizing a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not what it was still.
Yeah, especially I feel certain cars, right? Exotics, right? Those are the ones that have just skyrocketed. Because it. What's the price of a 2017, 2018 Aventador right now?
Yeah, that 2018 Aventador outside, and I just dropped what was out there.
Yeah.
That thing is $450.
$450.
Yeah.
What was that pre-COVID?
Probably could have snagged one for $405.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that 2018 Aventador, like I said, we could hear you pulling up. That was something else. Yeah. So obviously, Lambos are the favorite of yours. What other cars does Luke get excited about? I know they're just a tool and everything now at a certain point.
I really don't get excited over too many of the exotics anymore. I feel like at this point in my life, I'm kind of focused on my roots.
Yeah.
And I love old school Euro.
Yeah.
And JDM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that you had that old school BMW. You still have it?
No, I let it go.
You let it
I
go?
let it go.
Yeah.
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 It wasn't the exact car I wanted.
It wasn't exactly
You know.
right. It makes sense. So one car that I want to specifically talk about is that blue famous 458.
Yeah, man.
Man, when Lambo Luke pulls out in a Ferrari and it's not a Lambo, you know it's something
It's got to
special.
be something wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So give me the story about that Ferrari.
So I got the car from a pretty popular YouTuber,
Nice.
and it was a private sale. It was never listed for sale. I was able to sneak in back door and grab it. So I think the auto salon had been around a little under a year at that time, and I bought the car knowing it was a project.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was kind of like flex my muscles on the auto salon
Yeah.
and show people the quality that we could achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So the car was in, truly rough condition.
I guess the YouTuber just did not take care of it.
He rallied it.
Oh, okay.
He fucking drove that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what we did is it had a wrap on it, so had to remove the wrap. When the wrap came off, I discovered that the majority of the body panels weren't even painted.
Wow.
Yeah, they were cracked, stress fractured. So basically what I set out to do was recondition the car, and all the events that he was going out to, I wanted to pop back out with it.
Yeah.
Like V2.
Yeah.
You know? So I redid the wheels, I redid certain parts of the interior, fresh wrap, door jams, redid the suspension, all sorts of stuff.
Nice.
And it got crazy attention.
Oh yeah. I mean, you poured a lot of money into that car and time, effort, but I mean the results show for itself, because that car was like, we were talking about, you pulled up to Cars and Coffee. I remember that car got swarmed like it was a Bugatti or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you that must have been it must have felt real nice. Obviously it's not a Lambo, but I mean, it just shows your, like you said, you wanted to flex your muscles. It showed, hey man, I'm really in this game. I know this. I know cars, and this is what I do.
I think what I enjoyed the most about it is it was a love-hate.
Yeah.
And either way, people still talked about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because some people were like, man, why are the fucking wheels blue?
Yeah.
Or why are the wheels white?
Yeah.
And why is the car blue?
Why do you ruin the Ferrari? Blah,
yeah,
blah,
why
blah.
do you ruin the Ferrari? And at the end of the day, they were still talking about it.
100%. And, there's so much talk about Ferrari hating their cars getting customized and stuff like that. I think you can confirm. How much did the Ferrari hate that car? Was there a cease and desist on it or nothing?
I actually, right before I sold the car, Boardwalk Ferrari does the Concorso event.
Yep.
And
it was there.
I took it there, yeah. And people were like, bro, you're gonna get a cease and desist letter. You're gonna get sued. And bro, I took it there and I parked that bitch right out front.
Yeah.
And people at the Ferrari dealership loved it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's funny, man. It kind of shows that, like, it's just I think a lot of it is rumors, right, and stuff like that. So
Ferrari, I can confirm certain things. Ferrari doesn't like high-profile celebrities destroying the car.
No, it's bad for the brand.
And their number one thing, and hopefully I don't get in trouble about this, is they have strict rules on buying and selling the cars.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably know this.
Heard.
Say you or I walk into the Ferrari dealership and we go, I want an SF90. They're like, nah.
Go buy the...
Here's a Portofino.
Yep.
Take this Portofino. In 8 months, 10 months, we'll have a SF90 for you.
And you have to trade that Portofino back in.
Back into
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the funny thing is, you'll take it back. You're like, I'm ready for my SF90.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, here's an F8. you know? It's like Ferrari politics.
Oh, 100%, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, now they're doing that with the Mercedes is doing it with the G-Wagon, it's like you gotta buy something and then it comes and then, then it's like, okay, you got the G550, then maybe you can get the G63. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's funny how it works.
Yeah.
But
car politics is real.
Yeah, it is. It's really who you know.
Yeah, it is. And
you can be banned from buying a retail vehicle.
Yeah, especially if you flip it and stuff like that.
Right. So, like, say you're someone that got selected for a LAF Ferrari, and you flip it within a year, you could very well risk the chance of ever buying a Ferrari from the dealer again.
Yeah.
But you make $3 million or whatever.
Yeah.
But
But is it worth it?
is it worth it in the long run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. What is Lambo Luke investing in besides besides cars and business and stuff like that? Anything else that you're investing in?
So there's a couple things that I'm working on.
Yeah.
You could say, after doing this business for 6 years, you can make a good living, but it's one of those things where I feel like in some situations there's a cap.
Yeah.
It's not Miami, it's not LA.
Yeah.
So, kind of like you mentioned, you have to find something else to invest into.
No, 100%. So we're excited to see your next projects, and when you're ready to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about it right now.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it.
Right
What's
I
the next
won't necessarily say where my money goes.
Yeah.
But essentially, the two big things I'm working on right now, and as cliche as it sounds, is after all this time, I'm about to drop the how-to.
Oh, nice.
The real how-to. How to actually thrive and succeed in this kind of business.
Well, see, I don't think that's cliche or anything like that, because
I say that because there's a lot of people that teach it,
but they don't
really know it.
Yeah. So that's the thing is there's courses out there everywhere, right? But who's really doing it, right? Would I rather learn from someone that's out there actually doing it and is living it, or just the guy that I think is? And we're out here to fully support your message, because we know that you can lead people to success. So when is the course coming out?
I say within the next 60 days.
Next 60 days, man. So y'all heard it here first.
Yeah,
what's it called? What's it called?
Man, you'll know when you know.
Oh, so we're not getting into that far, but Lambo Luke is about to drop a course.
I feel like it'll be the only course that can teach people how to do this kind of business with money or without money.
Nice. Leverage.
Leverage.
That's huge.
So
that's huge, man. So that's one thing. Is there's a second thing that you want to talk about, or is that for later?
I won't go too deep into it, but a couple startup little situations that I'm involved in.
Nice. Awesome, man. Yeah. And so, that's the cool thing about it is not anyone that starts in real estate, that's not what they stick in. They go into something else. Anyone that starts in exotics, that's not all they stick in. They go into something else. Anyone who starts in the restaurant business, multiple streams of income, right? Multiple streams of income is key. So what advice do you have to that new entrepreneur? Besides, it doesn't matter what business they're going into, whether it's real estate, whether it's another business, what advice do you have? What would you give? Or even someone who's hey, I just want to start a podcast. What advice would you give to someone?
I think the number one thing, I'm sure you'd agree with me, is consistency.
Yeah.
Now, I know everyone says that, but waking up and staying true to yourself and staying true to the vision that you set out is the most important thing to success.
Awesome.
Doubling back though, one of the things, I don't want to say I have a regret, but one of the things that I think back on, maybe I could have done a little differently, is I put all my eggs initially into the business.
Gotcha.
That's all I thought about. How can I get more cars? How can I have the most cars? And that's all I wanted to do, was just kill it.
Yeah.
But COVID taught me, and even the current economic situation, that you can't be totally invested in one thing.
Gotcha.
So for any new entrepreneur, I'm not saying don't go hard with your main vision, but make sure you have a backup, or make sure you have a supplemental income.
Or working on something else.
Working on something else. Something that if all else fails, your business fails, your bills are still paid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense. So, we have that, working on other stuff. What other last things that do you want to leave? I feel like you're working really hard on leaving a legacy as well, right? How important is that? Do you wake up and I'm going to make an impact? Is that a little bit of your why? What is Lambo Luke's why?
I would say, kind of like you said, you got to do it for your last name, not your first name. And that is leaving a legacy. It's creating something that can take care of people after you.
Yeah.
And that's something real.
Yeah.
When you just focus on Luke, you're not thinking about the future.
Mm-mm.
You know, you're thinking about
Right now.
selfish reasons in the current time.
Yeah.
But, you know, every day I wake up, I think about, you know, I think about my girl, or I think about my team, you know, and those days that I wake up and I don't want to go to work, I think about them.
Yeah. They're the ones
know,
who are counting on you.
They're the ones that are, yeah. And having a team, having employees will make you realize that, that, you know, the vision or the project, the brand is so much bigger than just you.
Yeah.
You know,
I love the fact that you use the word team. Majority of people would just use the word employees, but you know, I feel like you really do treat this stuff like a team.
Yeah.
So how important has your team been to your success?
well, who am I without them? You know, obviously I've tried to pick who's there, but I don't like to call people employees.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even like to say people work for me.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys work together.
Yeah. Everyone on my team, I try to intro them like they're a fucking an athlete walking out on the court. You know, I try to say
Zach's an all-star.
Zach's an all-star. You know, Messiah is like the most fire photographer I know.
100%.
You know, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, that's what's
you
up,
know?
man.
But that just makes them feel good.
Oh, exactly.
You
And
know?
it's the truth, right?
Yeah. If I say, you know, this is John. John, you know, works for me. Is that all John is?
Yeah.
Is a worker?
Yeah.
You know, people are individuals and they have their own personalities and things they enjoy. You know, you got to highlight people for who they are.
Yeah, exactly. And without them, there is, like you said, who are
There
you
is no
without?
me.
Yeah, who are you without them? Because, you know, Luke can only be in so many places at once.
Right.
And so, you know, out of all the places you could be, you came out here. We really appreciate that. And that shows who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're not the biggest podcast or anything like that. But
Yeah,
you're
you're my boy, though.
Hey, I appreciate that. That's
yeah.
love, man. So the next things, where can people find you at? Like, you know, obviously you're out and about in Dallas. Are you guys going to be scaling to other places in Texas? What's next?
So I didn't even get to touch on that.
Yeah.
So actually, you know, currently in the process of franchising a couple locations.
Nice.
I think it's just time.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of like I told you, I feel like I hit a little bit of a cap here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just looking at other markets that there's not a lot of competition.
Nice. That makes sense. And so, you know, there's so many opportunities y'all can work with, Luke. Y'all can, you know, either, you know, buy the course or, you know, reach out for a franchise opportunity in a different city, you know. So that's awesome, man. I feel like you're going to create a lot of opportunities. And like, that's the thing is I feel like someone like you look to create opportunities for other people. Right. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even, you know, kind of like I said, you know, not all the cars are mine.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll allow select individuals to come in that I vibe with or trust, and we can create something together.
100%.
You know, because you're stronger with other people.
I would
just limiting yourself to what you can achieve.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. Because someone who may like have, you know, passion about cars, but they don't really necessarily have the time, they could come in and leverage.
I look for people to work with that would treat the car almost like a real estate investment. You know, I treat the cars like units.
Yeah.
Or kind of like how, you know, maybe someone in your field would look at a rental property.
Yeah.
Because that's really all it is.
That it's an investment, right?
Yeah, it's a moving unit.
Yeah. People have treated cars as depreciating assets, but they're not necessarily depreciating assets. Some are.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You try to acquire the vehicle as cheap as possible, as low in miles as possible. You try to make as much money as you possibly can.
Have that nice run.
Yeah, before it's not worth anything.
Yeah, and before all the problems start coming in.
Yeah, before all the problems.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. Well.
But yeah, so to go back to it, you might be seeing a classic Austin and Scottsdale soon. So,
oh man, Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Scottsdale is that city. Yeah, I love Scottsdale. Shout out to Scottsdale. That's a fun city.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, you know, man, I feel like we brought out so many new things that are coming. So I'm glad you decided to share all that with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop the website for the wait list on the course soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'll definitely be pushing that around soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we got full support from us. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about, or anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Man, shout out to you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me out here. I really appreciate it. I haven't done a podcast in a while.
All right, we appreciate you.
So thanks for getting me back out of my shell.
No, I appreciate
that.
Yeah.
Shout out to my wifey. You know, we already touched on that, but you know, my number one supporter. and my family in general. You know?
That's awesome, man. And people, if they want to keep up with you, where can they follow you at? And we're going to drop the tag at the bottom.
Yeah.
Where can they follow you at, and where can they follow your business at?
Yeah. My main page is Lambo _Luke. And then the business is classic TX, TCLTX, second page.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Luke. You killed it. We really appreciate you. Thank you for pulling up and showing love, man. Appreciate
Thank
you,
bro.
brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Later.
That was fun, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. It was